Flyer frustrations as a short-lived strike leaves an impact lasting quite a bit longer than the lockout itself. Good afternoon. This is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan. The ripple effects of a one-day strike by WestJet flight attendants continues to impact travel plans for tens of thousands of passengers, including those at the Ottawa airport. While there is relief, some travelers are still in limbo. CTV's Katie Griffin was at the airport earlier today and joins us live with more. Katie.
Well, Stefan, all of the scheduled flights out of Ottawa so far today have left, but not all travel plans have been sorted. The Benowis family was supposed to fly to Cancun for a wedding on Sunday, the day 4,400 flight attendants walked off the job. They were rebooked 2 days later to this morning on a different route that had them flying from Winnipeg to Ottawa. They now have to get a taxi to Montreal, spend a night in a hotel, and get a flight to Cancun tomorrow morning, which is the day of the wedding. Other passengers arrived at the airport today not impacted by the one-day strike and taking off as planned.
Another 5 hours waiting for their confirmation. The call gets disconnected. So it happened to us like 3 times.
Monday early morning, I got a notice saying you've been rebooked on Porter Airlines. And I went, okay, that's fine. And then I read that flight's on Friday. Yesterday was 5 days.
We were concerned over the weekend when we heard all of the disruptions and so on, but this was our scheduled day to fly, and we came here. Everything was normal. Check-in was fine, and we're on our way.
The new deal still has to be ratified. Specifics have not been released, but the union representing flight attendants says it includes pay increases and suggests it addresses concerns about unpaid work. And WestJet says it is ramping up operations, but it's not clear yet when it will be back up to full speed. Stefan?
CTV's Katie Griffin reporting live for us. Thank you, Katie. Ottawa police are investigating a stabbing in Centretown this morning. Emergency crews say they were called to the area of Bank Street and McLeod Street at around 9:45 a.m. and treated a man at the scene for stab wounds before taking him to hospital. At last check, his condition was considered serious but stable so far. No word on any arrests. The municipal election is months away, but transit is already becoming a key issue. Mayoral candidate Jeff Leiper unveiling his 5-point plan to fix OC Transpo. The candidate, who currently serves as councillor for Quishisipi Ward, is calling it transit that works. The plan includes reversing cuts introduced through new ways to bus and bringing back a citizen representative on Transit Commission. Public transit is expected to be a major issue during the municipal election as thousands of public servants and students return to OC Transpo buses and the O train this fall.
Residents are beyond frustrated with the transit system that we are delivering today. I hope what they hear is that I understand their frustrations and that I am committed to delivering the transit service that they deserve. A lot of this can be found by reprioritizing money within the budget. We don't necessarily have to increase taxes. We absolutely do need more help from the federal and the provincial governments.
Council has approved the City of Ottawa's 48-point plan to keep commuters this fall, which includes boosting bus service on busy routes and increasing frequency on O Train Line 1 during peak and non-peak periods. The City of Ottawa is continuing to hold public information sessions for victims of the Canada Day flooding. City services, legal services, and the Red Cross were made available today to meet with residents who are still trying to recover from storm damage and basement flooding that took place over a month ago now. Lawyers on hand say a recurring question residents are seeking answers to is how to deal with contractors and insurance companies that are slow to resolve damage.
It appears to be systemic. There are thousands of claims. Insurance companies seem to be overwhelmed, so it's a system-wide sort of issue. I think the only thing you can really do is if you feel that your adjuster is not giving you the time that you deserve, I think you've got to just escalate that and go over the adjuster, go speak with a supervisor, and continue escalating it until somebody actually reaches out to you.
Another information session is being held Thursday from 1 in the afternoon until 5 p.m. at Ben Franklin Place on Centrepoint Drive. Residents can receive one-on-one support for the Compassionate Grant Program, residential plumbing programs, permit questions, and general legal advice. An update now on the wildfires burning in northern Ontario. The latest numbers from the Ministry of Natural Resources show 5 new fires were confirmed in the northeast region as of Monday evening. That means there were a total of 46 active fires. In the northwest region of the province, 2 new blazes were confirmed by last night for a total of 119. The MNR says 24 of them are out of control, but 8 fires were extinguished since the previous update. Canada's point man in the trade war with the U.S. is back in Washington today. It's Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc's second trip to D.C. in the last 2 weeks amid the ongoing trade disputes and tariff threats from President Donald Trump. He's joined by Janice Charette, Canada's chief negotiator to the U.S. LeBlanc's spokesperson says the minister is there for a series of trade-related engagements. A section of Holly Acres Road in the city's West End will be closed this week to allow crews to repair damage caused by the heavy rain on Canada Day. The city says repairs are needed to the culvert on Holly Acres Road so it can fully reopen to traffic. Holly Acres Road will be closed to northbound traffic between Richmond Road and the 416-417 eastbound off-ramp, and southbound between Carling Avenue and Richmond Road. The northbound Highway 416 off-ramp to Holly Acres Road will be closed this week. Work is expected to be completed by Monday at noon. Coming up on CTV News at 5, paying tribute to those who built a key site here in the nation's capital centuries ago. More details when we return. And Jackie Perez is joining us with our first look at the forecast. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. Dry and calm conditions will continue this afternoon into tomorrow with, again, another sunshine day. That's the good news, but chances of rain will be on the way for the rest of the week. More on that in just a bit. Right now, temperatures 28 degrees, feeling more like 30s with those humidex values really across eastern Ontario. Overnight, 14 degrees, clear skies. Tomorrow, another 29-degree day in the capital, but there will be some wind. We talked about rain. We'll have those details for you in just a bit.
Thank you, Jackie. Here's what you need to know. Grab your yoga mat and head to Parliament Hill tomorrow afternoon for a summer tradition here in Ottawa. Yoga on Parliament Hill happens Wednesdays at noon. The outdoor sessions last about an hour. It's free to attend. Now for a live check on traffic. On the Queensway, westbound lanes are slow going from Parkdale to Woodruff. Eastbound is backed up from Maitland to Bronson. It's also backed up from St. Laurent to Innis. The 174 eastbound out to Orleans is seeing heavy traffic volume from the split to Montreal Road. All lanes are closed at Montreal Road due to a collision. At this time, the 416 southbound is backed up just shortly after you get on it off the Queensway. Taking a closer look at an ongoing hot topic in the U.S.-Canada trade war. Ontario's decision to keep American alcohol off the shelves here until the U.S.-imposed tariffs are lifted. And with more on that, CFRA's Christy Cameron is here to help us go off script. Christy.
If the goal was to inflict economic pain on the United States, I would say, based on the complaints and the narrative that we're hearing from down south, that it's working, right? Because we've heard from the winemakers in California that this move by Ontario has been very damaging. We've also heard from the bourbon industry in Kentucky as well. The Distilled Spirits Council of the U.S. has said on record that the retaliatory bans in Canada have led to a 63% decline in spirits that are being exported to the market. But the thing is, not everyone agrees that we're taking the right approach. And I had somebody who's here with the rebuttal on the show today, Joseph Steinberg. He's an economics professor at U of T. He said this policy is based in emotion, and if it was going to work, we would have seen it move the needle by now. Take a listen.
You can't deal rationally and try to negotiate with somebody who's completely unreasonable and, frankly, completely unpredictable. The best thing that you can do is work to make your domestic economy as strong as possible and not inflict even further pain on your own consumers just because you want to send a message.
Very interesting perspective. And Christy, when you were on vacation, I kind of mentioned, I believe, on your show with Andy, that it's interesting to hear from the White House when they say, we don't need anything from Canada. We don't need them. We don't need this. But they're coming after us because clearly what we're doing is working, as you mentioned.
I guess the question is whether or not we have to have provinces making the decision for Canadians. So, here in Ontario, could we just tell people, hey, we're going to put it back on the shelves and you decide. Vote with your wallets. I think a lot of people would probably not buy the American product.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's the debate.
In similar vein that we're seeing people not travel south of the border.
Right. But it seems like Premier Ford is not budging. He was asked about this a couple of days ago, and he said the same thing. He doubled down. We're not doing it.
And he's not alone. So is the BC Premier. Thank you, Christy. You can join the conversation, leave a comment through the Talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen live to Christy Cameron on News Talk 580 CFRA weekdays from 2 to 6. And now watch Christy's segments anytime on YouTube. Subscribe to the News Talk 580 CFRA channel. There is a somber side to the August-long weekend. Monday's Colonel By Day included an event to honor those who built the Rideau Canal nearly 200 years ago. The Celtic Cross ceremony was a tribute to the hundreds who died in harsh conditions during construction. CTV's Camille Wilson has more.
For Paige Ranolfson, it's important for her to attend the Rideau Canal Celtic ceremony every year.
It's our 200th birthday this year, and Colonel By is the reason why we celebrate it, because he was the one that started the canal and gave a birth to Ottawa.
Colonel John By was the chief engineer that built the Rideau Canal in the early 1800s. This cross ceremony commemorates the 1,000 workers, many of them Irish, that lost their lives while building the Rideau Canal between 1826 and 1832. As many as 7,000 people worked to build the canal.
This accomplishment made Ottawa, or Bytown, a city, and later on in 1857 it becomes designated the capital of Canada. So as we say, the Irish, we dug the ditch that built this nation.
The men and women died from sickness and disease, and engraved on the monument 5 symbols representing the diseases they died from, tools used, and working conditions.
And this monument here says a sacrifice, a tribute to sacrifice and achievement. That's what the official panel says. Now, those words speak volumes.
While inside the Bytown Museum, Daniel Belair is marking Colonel By Day with learning about Ottawa, his home.
Being 200-year anniversary, we thought we'd get a bit of history and stuff like that. So many different things to learn as far as the history goes and artifacts.
Each year we organize public programming for the public to enjoy, learn about Colonel By, who he was, his accomplishments with building the Rideau Canal, and also invite them into the museum to learn a little bit more about Ottawa's history.
With Ranolfson, she's dedicated to always supporting her city.
We have an awesome city. I embrace everything about it.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, an Ottawa Ringette team shines bright on the international stage. Their story just ahead in Simply Ottawa. Here's what else you need to know. Taking an outdoor movie this Thursday night at Lansdowne Park. Movies are scheduled weekly throughout the summer. This week's screening is for Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. Attendance is free. Start time is 9 p.m. Here's another live check on traffic. Things moving well in both directions at Bell's Corners along the Queensway. Bayswater is also flowing quite well. The western stretch of the Queensway, the usual slowdowns that you can expect around the Pinecrest area, but things again flowing well along the 417 by Innis in both directions. We'll be right back. Coming up later tonight on CTV after the 6 o'clock news, E-Talk starts at 7. Then The Big Bang Theory at 7:30, another episode at 8, followed by another episode at 8:30. Match Game is on at 9 and Password at 10. Now for another check on the weather forecast, Jackie's joining us live in studio right now with more. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. The heat really picked up later this afternoon with the sun shining, and this will continue into tomorrow. That's the good news. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass sky cam where it's 28 degrees right now. The sun shining down on Kaweki Point. Lovely day to be out and about. The humidex value is feeling closer to 33 today. Those clear skies will continue into later this evening, and I did mention tomorrow another sunshine day. By the time noon rolls around, it'll feel more like 31. By 4 p.m., feeling closer to 35. We will have a little bit of the winds picking up around the noon hour, between 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, but it should subside by the later part of the afternoon and early evening. Now, for the valley, overnight, 15 degrees, clear skies, sunshine, 29 degrees. Very similar as well for our friends in the Seaway, 29, the daytime high, and sunshine carrying us through into Thursday, where, yes, Unfortunately, we will likely see some rain. A chance of showers likely going to happen in the early part of the afternoon. There is the slight chance we could see a risk of thunderstorms as well. Greatest chance of rain will likely be for Friday, moving into Saturday as well. So take advantage of not just today, but also tomorrow, because it will be quite some time before when we choose to leave the umbrella at home. So you definitely want to pack that for the next several days.
On today's edition of Simply Ottawa, we are celebrating a major achievement for a local ringette team, capturing the gold medal in a major international competition this weekend in Finland. The Ottawa Valkyries came out as the big winners in their U14 division at the annual Lions Cup International Championship. It is the largest ice hockey and ringette tournament series in Europe. Hundreds of teams from Europe and North America compete. The Valkyries are the only Canadian team to reach the podium at this year's tournament, and the first Ottawa-based team to bring home a gold medal since the tournament began in 2004. The team brings together competitive female ringette players from across the Ottawa region and is led by an all-female coaching staff. Congratulations to the Valkyries on their big win. Keep making Ottawa proud. And we want to hear your stories of people doing good, spreading joy, making a difference, or marking a notable achievement. We will be showcasing stories that touch our hearts and make us proud of our city. Simply Ottawa. You can send your story ideas to ottawanews@ctv.ca.
This dirt is so nice and soft. Look at this. You scrape. It's not rocky. It's not too sandy.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, digging into the National Capital Region's archaeological history with a chance to uncover artifacts at local sites this summer. Here's what you need to know. Take in an Ottawa Atletico game this weekend at TD Place. Ottawa takes on the Halifax Wanderers, and it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Day. Game time is 1 p.m. Visit the team's website for tickets. Here's another live check on traffic. The 417 is slow going in the westbound lanes from Parkdale to Woodruff. Eastbound is slow from Maitland to Bronson, and things are backed up from St. Laurent to Innis as well. If you're headed out to Orleans, the 174 is seeing heavy traffic volume from the split to Montreal Road. There is a lane closure at Montreal Road because of a collision, so make sure you are aware of that. Use an alternate route if you can. There are also collisions off the Queensway at Holland and Sherwood Drive and Ramseyville north of Mitch Owens. You're watching CTV News at 5.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Pure Country 94. Ottawa's home for the best country music. Listen to Pure Country 94 on the free iHeartRadio app.
Here's another live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It is nice and hot out there at 28 degrees. And it's time now for a look ahead to CTV News at 6. Here's Patricia Bull.
Thanks, Steph. Here's what we're working on for 6 o'clock.
Monday, early morning, I got a notice saying, you've been rebooked on Porter Airlines. And I went, okay, that's fine. And then I read that flight's on Friday.
WestJet is working to return to full operations following a one-day strike by flight attendants, but many travelers are still dealing with the aftermath of delays and cancellations.
Residents are beyond frustrated with the transit system that we are delivering today. I hope what they hear is that I understand their frustrations and that I am committed to delivering the transit service that they deserve.
As the fall municipal election approaches, we hear from mayoral candidate Jeff Leiper outlining his plan to fix OC Transpo as commuter volume is expected to ramp up next month.
This capability that we're delivering them will be used to support jet fighters, aerial drones, Navy ships, forward operating bases.
And a Canadian satellite communications company headquartered right here in Ottawa wins a major contract to provide satellite internet for the military in Canada's Arctic. All of that and more is coming up tonight on CTV News at 6. That's right after the early edition of CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo at 5:30. Steph.
Thank you, Patricia. Now the final 5 other stories we're following today.
It's one of many programs that are available this year within Gatineau Park to really have people get hands-on activities with different specialists like archaeologists, biologists, that kind of thing.
The National Capital Commission is hosting free public archaeological digs throughout August to celebrate Archaeology Month in the National Capital Region. Digs are happening at Limy Lake Park and Lac Philippe. Participants get to explore significant archaeological sites and learn more about the region's indigenous history before European contact. If you need gas, you'll want to wait to fill up if you can, of course. Prices at the pump are expected to drop significantly this week. The average cost of regular gas in Ottawa hovered around $1.60 today. Prices are expected to drop 10 cents a litre in Ottawa and Eastern Ontario on Thursday. Global oil prices have been fluctuating in recent weeks after the ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. collapsed.
Melon horse, she can run for days. For days. Slips through to. Oh, what a save! Oh my gosh! And Nicola Golan gets the rebound. And it is.
The Ottawa Rapid FC clinching a victory in extra time against the Halifax Tides yesterday. It was the quarterfinal game in the inaugural W Canadian Championships, which will provide a path to the 2027 CONCACAF W Championships Cup and the 2028 FIFA Women's Club World Cup. The semifinals will be played next year. Marineland has begun the second phase of its whale relocation plan. The second phase will see 7 more whales on the move as they head to SeaWorld's San Antonio location. The relocation comes just weeks after the shuttered tourist attraction successfully transferred 6 belugas to 2 different parks in the U.S. Marineland closed in September 2024.
Personally, myself, I grew up on a cattle farm in Canada. It's a long way from being here with this mission in front of us.
NASA is getting set to send 4 astronauts, including Canadian Joshua Kutrick, up to the International Space Station. Kutrick says he's always dreamt of going to space, going back to when he was growing up in eastern Alberta. The crew will travel to the space station in a launch scheduled for mid-September. That is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. Be sure to join Patricia Bull for CTV News at 6. The early edition of CTV National starts right now. Thanks for watching.